Welcome back to the Adventures with Sara P podcast. I am your host, Sara P, a 19-year-old girl trying to figure out this whole adulting thing through life's adventures. Previously, we have talked about my feelings with self-comparison, and then we had our first guest on the podcast, Allison. She and I talked about just our experience in the pageant world and our confidence and how it's grown and all that fun stuff. So if you haven't listened to those 2 episodes, you definitely should. They kind of set the stage for this week's podcast. I haven't decided on a name just because I don't have any notes. I'm kind of just gonna freewall this one. So if I repeat myself, I'm sorry, but right now I'm a little emotional. So as we talked about in the last 2 episodes, we're going to a pageant together. Me and you, we went to Orlando, Florida, and we competed at the National American Miss Pageant for nationals. I was able to represent Baltimore County, which was such an honor. But the week was so much fun. I met so many incredible people. I got to reunite with so many friends. It was overall just a really good week. But going into it, I was a little weary of comparing myself to others. My friend Allison texted me and was like, hey, just make sure you're focusing on yourself. And so I'm proud to say that I was really able to do that this past week. I really went in there, focused on myself. Obviously, I met so many amazing people and made so many friendships and got to know so many people, but competition wise, I was really focused on more myself than anything, which I hadn't done in the past. So I was really proud of myself for that. And then in the middle of the week, I was able to interview Allison because we had a day off. And so I got to interview her again. That episode should be up when you're hearing this. So definitely go check it out. I'm super excited to have our first guest. Allison is just an incredible person. She is so caring and so kind, and she won the Florida Junior Teen Division a while ago. So she got to talk about her experience with that and how that competition kind of felt different for her and her mindset going into it. And then of course how she has grown in confidence and is into the beautiful woman we see today. She is just such a light, and I appreciate her for that. So shout out to Allison for that. So overall, great week. I have never felt so confident in myself than any other year than competing this past year, or this past week. It was literally 3 days ago, but I was struggling a lot at the end just with the finale. I really thought, okay, so I should take a step back. I know I did my absolute best. There's still nothing I would change in any of my formal wear walk. I'm so happy with how I presented myself on stage and my personal introduction. I killed it. I started off really slow, and then I kind of had to speed it up there at the end because I knew I was running down on time. But I'm still really proud with how I used my hands, how I spoke, how confident I felt on stage. And then with interview, I went into interview just being myself, and I wouldn't change a single answer. I even got to talk to one of the judges about my definition of confidence, and he said that he wanted to get it tattooed. I don't know if he will, but if nothing else, I was able to go into that interview and help someone else find a different version of confidence and courage and be able to share that with them. And then just the amazing girls that were in my division and the other divisions that I got to meet, everyone was just so genuinely nice, which I love about NAM. So overall, great week. The only thing I struggled with was at the finale, I did not make top 12, and it was a little hard just because I feel like I've grown so much from my state competition and just my confidence and preparing and everything, and just I don't know, obviously we'll never know what the judges were looking for, but it's really hard when you keep trying at something and then you just don't make it, and then but there's nothing you can do. I said, I would not change anything that I had done competition wise. I'm so happy with my performance. It's just really hard because pageantry is such an objectified sport, I guess. Same with diving. Like, you could have done a really good dive, like the best you've ever done it in your life, but you're relying on someone else's opinion to score it well. And so that's been really hard. But I feel like in diving, like, you are able to have a sense of like what they're looking for just with like scoring. Like, like a clean entry is going to get you a good score, like having a good jump is really going to help you out. In pageantry, it's kind of a little different just because you're given like a prompt and you just have to go with it. Like, you have to, this is the walking pattern for formal wear, like, good luck. And so I feel like it's been a little bit harder in that sense, just because like not knowing why. And like, yes, you can get like judges comments, but I was talking to my friend Taya about this, and we were like, yeah, like the judges comments always sound like, and then we like paused and looked at each other and we're like, nice smile, because that's always like what the comments say. Like, the first thing on every comment is like a compliment. It's like, nice smile, like nice confidence, or something like that. So I thought that was really funny. And so it's just been a lot emotionally, just because like that week is just like so draining. Like, there's so much going on. You're getting up early for hair and makeup, like you have dance rehearsals, you have competition, and like for me, like I normally like don't hang out with my friends every day of every week. Like, we normally like space it out, and so like my social battery was just drained. I was like emotionally drained there at the end, and then like to turn around and get on a flight to come back up to Maryland to get ready for school and practice. It was just a lot for me. And so like just being able to still be proud of myself for competing, and I'm hoping to go back this summer. I'm not sure yet if I'll be competing in Maryland or Florida. I will keep you posted. But either way, I met so many amazing people from Maryland. So even if I don't compete in Maryland, I hope to see the girls in Maryland just to like stop by and say hi. Same with Florida. Like, I know a lot of the girls competing in Florida. I've grown up with them. And so like if I don't compete there, like just stopping by and saying hi, because they really supported me. I got so many loving texts after the finale to, cheer me up, and it was greatly appreciated. And so I know not everyone gets that opportunity or has those friends that will text them when things aren't going right. And so it's just like trying to deal with those emotions when you're struggling with a hard time. Obviously, like, the world has so many bigger problems. Like, this like not winning a pageant is so small, but for me it's more of not the fact that I didn't win, not the fact that I didn't make top 12, but it's more of the fact that like I did my best and that wasn't enough. That's more of what I'm struggling with. And I've felt that not only in pageantry, in so many other aspects of my life. So I'm assuming I'm not the only one, and other people have felt that. And so I'm just trying to work through that right now. And just, I feel like I film every episode the second I get off the phone with my therapist. I don't know why that is, but I think that's kind of funny. So I was just talking to her about how I'm struggling with that right now, like just knowing like I did my absolute best. There's nothing I would have changed with how I did any of my areas of competition, and just knowing like that's not enough. And my therapist also did pageantry, so she knows the exact feelings I'm feeling. And so we kind of just talked through it. And so I would say, if you're struggling with a time where things aren't going your way, is definitely talk through it, process those emotions. And so talking with her, it was just really nice to hear her say that like she also felt the exact same way with her pageants, because she is aged out now, and so she's not able to compete anymore. And so she had her last pageant, and unfortunately she didn't win, which I was really bummed for. So I asked her, just because this was my last year being a teen, and so I'm now officially a miss, which is like mind blowing. Like, I remember being 7 and being like, oh my gosh, the misses are so cool. Like, they're like adults. Like, wow, like I want to be like them when I grow up. And so like to be there, like to be in their shoes now, like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel so old. But I talked with her because it was my last pageant as a teen. And so like just hearing from her, like knowing, like going into it knowing it was her last time competing, like how was that? And she said it was very, what were her exact words? It was very um like I forgot the word she used, but it's like when a chapter like ends in a book and it's a very satisfying, like I guess satisfying might be the word, but when it's like a very satisfying ending, like just knowing that like she did her best and she's happy with how she performed, like something like that. And so like that's just how I'm kind of taking my last year as a teen, was there, like I'm so happy with how I performed. And I guess what we're working towards right now is anytime I do anything, like just being able to, obviously it hurts when you don't win in anything or get the outcome that you wanted. And so just trying to work on more so accepting that like what I did was enough. And so like emotionally trying to like build me up for that. And so we're working on that. But yeah, I've just been so emotionally and physically drained. Like I just want to go to bed at 9 p.m. Like I'm still not recovered fully from this past week. It was just a lot of fun and emotions, and my social battery is just like drained. I like it's tough right now. But yeah, I've been struggling with trying to handle all my emotions. I feel like there's like a lot because as I mentioned before, I was working on healing my inner child, and I feel like that really helped me with this outcome of just like knowing that like we did our best, so there was nothing else we could do. Like we're not a judge. Like we don't know what exactly the judges were looking for. And so I feel like that really helped me in that aspect of it. And just I lost my train of thought. Oh yes, I remember. So with my emotions, just like I feel like I've been very overwhelmed with them. Like I have a lot going on. My car decided to like break down on me before I left for the pageant, and I was like, I'm not gonna worry about this now, I'll worry about it when I came back. Which like when I came back, then I had to worry about it. And I was like, oh, I love that I did that to myself. But so I'm trying to get that fixed right now. So I'm currently without a car, which kind of sucks because I haven't been able to go grocery shopping really, and I need food. But we're working with what we have. And then finals is coming up, and finals is always just a stressful time, no matter where you are in your life, middle school, high school, college. Like it is just super hard, just with like everything coming to a close for the semester, just like needing to get stuff done. So I'm trying to stay on top of all of my work. I'm doing my best at that, but it's just like you have to listen to your body, and I feel like that's another important thing to do when things aren't going your way, is just listen to your body, listen to your emotions. If you need sleep, like please get the sleep. Like for me, I'm lucky enough to be ahead on my work, so I can kind of just get away with not doing it for a little bit. Mom, if you're listening to this, you didn't hear that, but like just listening to my body, like I need the rest, I need the time to myself. After the pageant, I will say I was at the airport and I just felt really overwhelmed with emotions, with just feeling so loved and supported by some of the texts I was receiving, but also a little like frustrated with the results of the outcome. And so I went and bought a book and kind of tried to escape from those, and that could only last so long. But I will say the book I'm reading is really good. I don't remember the name of it at the moment. It's like over on my nightstand, but I definitely will post that somewhere because I'm halfway through with it right now and it is so good. It's like a little murder mystery. So good. I'll post it somewhere so you know what the book is. Highly recommend. But so I tried to escape my emotions, which like looking back on it, like I just wanted to stop crying. So like in that sense, like that's what I had to do. But I think if I like was more so listening to my emotions and like why I was feeling that way, I would have felt a little less overwhelmed in other aspects of just like trying to focus on schoolwork and just like trying to, come back to my apartment and just like decompress, get everything together for the next day because I had practice at 9 a.m. Woohoo! So yeah, I mean, it's just really hard with having times that aren't going your way. And so a lot of the text I received was people obviously trying to do the right thing and just be like, we're proud of you, like, just trust the process. And it's really hard to hear that. And I know we've talked about that before when people say trust the process, but now I feel like I'm not as emotional when it comes to the subject. And so I am trying to trust the process and just let things happen for a reason And so with that, I'm just trying to listen to my body. I think that is the most important and crucial part of life, is just when things are going great or when things aren't, just listening to your body and making sure you're doing what it needs, drinking water, eating the nutrients, that was the word I was looking for, nutrients when you need them, and just overall doing what you need to do, getting that sleep, spending that time alone, whatever that might look like for you. Maybe going with friends and just hanging out, or reading a book, or working out, whatever it might look like for you. For me, it's definitely just getting sleep, being by myself, and journaling. Highly recommend journaling. My therapist describes it as when you have thoughts in your head, like they can get like all clustered, but if you write it out, like that's you like fully processing those emotions and being able to write those thoughts down. So I struggle with journaling just because I like don't like writing down my emotions when I like am already feeling them, but it does feel good when I do it, so I should probably start doing that more. But overall, I just wanted to update you on the pageant and just let you know how that went. But my mom was even talking about like during the week how she felt like I was being so confident, being so like outgoing, and how she was like really proud of me, which really means a lot, just because like that's what I've been working on, is going up to more people, making more friends, and just like having a good time. Not really too focused on the competition and like who was competing and like what they were doing. It was more so about like what I was doing, what I could improve on. And she was like, yeah, that's like the most confident I've seen you be on stage. And so that really meant a lot, because she's seen me from when I was 7 just starting out to now. So it felt really good just to like have other people recognize that there was like a shift. So that felt good. But overall, yeah, the pageant was a lot emotionally, and I'm still trying to cope with it, but I just wanted to give you an update on that. I am working on editing the vlog, so that will or should be out soon. I'm not really sure, but stay tuned for that. I'm really excited with the vlog. I kind of just like focused more on like being present in the moment and not so much recording. So I don't know exactly how this vlog is going to turn out, but because I didn't really like have time to like sit down in front of the camera, because I was just either eating or exhausted and just wanted to go to bed. So I am interested to see how that will turn out. But either way, I bet it'll be a great vlog, and it is coming soon, or it is already out. I'm not sure, but you could go check it out. It's Adventures with Sara P on YouTube. It's probably called National American Miss Nationals Vlog 2023, if you want to go check it out. But more so on dealing with the hard times or when things aren't going your way, I would definitely say for me, having that time alone, focusing on those inner thoughts has been super important, just because I haven't so much as had a conversation with myself. I've kind of just like cried. And so I would definitely say having that conversation with yourself, checking in, and like noticing what you need. For me, I just know my body is really exhausted. We just had our first lift back being on campus, and like we haven't lifted in 3 or so weeks, and so my body is just like dead. And so I will be making dinner and going to bed here shortly, because that is just what my body needs right now. But taking a hot shower, having that time with my thoughts, and for someone else it might look like working out. So if you're really struggling with your emotions, I would definitely say go on like a walk or a run and just like have music going and just try and start a conversation with yourself. It is a little weird feeling in the beginning, just like talking like with your thoughts. Like it is different and a little weird, but I would definitely recommend trying to get used to that, or at least just trying it, because I feel like it's really helped for me. Or it might be journaling if talking in your head is a little weird for you. Maybe journaling might be the other scenario that might work better. I'm like not like, I've just been so like dead. I like words are not coming to my brain right now. But I will say I do feel a lot better with having my therapy appointment and talking to you about how this week has gone and just emotionally processing it. I think that has been the hardest part, is just like trying to process everything And so I'm definitely feeling a lot better and not as like emotional towards it. But back to struggling with those hard times. So first, definitely listen to your body. Second would be those positive thoughts and talks we have talked about lots of times before. Just making sure you're trying to keep those positive thoughts. I noticed last night, I called my mom because I was just really upset, and I called her, and I called her because I noticed that I was having those like negative thoughts where it was like, well, you should have done this better, and you should have done this better, and this could have resulted in a different outcome. And it was like, there was no need for that. Like, I did not need that at the moment, like, or at all. So I just like called her, and like she tried to walk me through like going back to this positive thoughts and just trying to stop those negative thoughts. So definitely, if you hear those negative thoughts creeping in, try and stop them. Obviously, acknowledge them, listen to them, and then try and switch that gear if you can. But I feel like those are the two main things to do when things aren't going your way. The third, I would say, is just like feel those emotions. For me, I just needed to cry a few times, and once I did that, I felt so much better. So definitely, if you feel like you need to cry or you feel like you need to scream, those are valid emotions, and you probably just need to get them out. So whether it be in a safe space like the shower or in your bed, highly recommend getting those thoughts out, but please make sure they are in a safe spot or a safe space, just because you don't want to hurt anyone else. And so that is super important. So I feel like those are the three main things to do when things aren't going your way. Obviously, we've talked about before, riding the wave. It is so hard, and trusting the process. And I feel like I've been tested really recently, like with this. And so I am trying to take my own advice in these situations and try and listen to my advice, because you can give advice, but it doesn't really do anything unless you do it yourself. And so I'm trying to, and get through this low point of the wave and try and get back up onto the high, because before the pageant I was feeling super confident. I was having so many good things go on, and I feel like right now, like the little things that are happening that aren't so minor that I wouldn't have noticed on like the high of the wave, I'm noticing because I'm at the low. And so I'm just trying to move past those, because it's really like not that I would guess it's like not that I guess I'm trying to convince myself it's not that big of a deal, even though it is. But like just trying to like acknowledge that the world is going to keep spinning, like things are still going to happen. And so being present in those moments, just trying to look forward to those things that you have planned for yourself. I still haven't been actually able to go to the aquarium. I know I mentioned that a few weeks ago. I just like haven't had the like will to go. Like I just like have been so tired. But I'm hoping to do that whenever. But having those things to look forward to are super important for me. I have a trip to DC on Friday for my major, and one of my friends is on the trip. So I just know we're going to have a blast, even though it's like school related. I like don't even know what to call it. Like, is it a school field trip? Like, do we have field trips in college? Like, not really, but like I don't know how else to describe it. But I'm really looking forward to that. And then knowing that after finals, like I get to go home, and I won't have a stressful time being home like I did for Thanksgiving and being overwhelmed. Like I'm just going to enjoy the time at home with the dogs, with my fam, and all that. But I will say I do have surgery coming up, which I'm stressing out a little bit over, but like that's a problem for after Christmas. So like I really don't want to have to think about that till then. So yeah, I will say, so those three things we talked about, which like now I can't remember, but listening to your body, positive thoughts, there's one more that I'm blanking on, and then having something to look forward to, I think are super important when things are going your way or not, just because it's I guess like a safety blanket, like on how to get through life. And so having that safety blanket of being able to listen to your emotions and prioritize yourself is super important, no matter if you're on the top of the wave or the bottom. And so that is what I'm currently working towards. I will hopefully give you an update next week on how everything is going. But yeah, the past few days have been really emotional, and so I have been struggling a little bit with that. And so it's definitely getting better. So I'm happy to say that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, even when it doesn't feel like it. And so just overall, I'm trying to process this experience, and I'm forever grateful for it, because I would not have been able to meet the amazing people I was able to meet this past week. And so I am grateful for that. And I feel like my goal, so I was like trying to process this, and I feel like my new goal for pageants is, as my mom said, it's never really to win. Of course, the crown and banner would feel great, but for me, it's kind of just more so growing. And if it's my confidence or my interview skills or my public speaking or little things like that, that's more so now my goal for the pageant. And I think I was able to start doing that this week, but I'm hoping to do that more while I prepare for the summer, and just trying not to let what the judges want affect me as much. So if it ends up where I walk away with the crown, that's great, but I don't want to be so consumed by the fact that I won to like ruin however I felt when I was on stage for formal wear, like stuff like that. But then again, if I don't walk away with the crown, I don't want it to be so emotionally upset that it like leads me to where I was these past couple of days, because it has just not been fun, and I like really want to work on that and not have that experience again. But enough with the negatives, some positives. I've met so many incredible people. I hope to stay connected with them. Hopefully we will have more guests on the podcast. I would love to interview some of the girls that I met this past week, so we will see how that goes. That might be asking a lot currently, as I'm like preparing to get ready for finals and that, but hopefully that will work out. Andy was the now former queen that for the title I was competing for, and I felt like we really got to bond and grow a friendship, as well as my friend Daria, who was kind of helping me prepare for the pageant, and Allison, she was also trying to help me get into the right mindset. And I feel like we got to spend a day together, and so we had like lunch, and we really just like got to talk and like catch up, because we really only see each other once every 6 months, and so it was really nice to do that. And just overall, I got to reconnect with some of my friends that I hadn't seen since I competed at state, like Ava and Taya, and so that was just really nice to get to reconnect with them and just get to spend the week with them. Because I feel like too, like my mom was saying that I was just like carrying myself so well, and that I was just like enjoying like dressing up, and I don't really get to do that because with practice, like I go to class with sopping wet hair, so I don't really like try with my outfits too hard. And so like just being able to dress cute and just be in the Florida sun was super nice. And so there were so many positives that came out of this week, and it's really easy to escape and just focus on the negatives. So I think that's really important to talk about too, is the positive and the negatives. And of course, I am working on myself, and so hopefully next week I will be able to catch you up on the emotional process I'm currently going through. But I will say I'm definitely doing a lot better, and so I'm really happy with how this process has gone. That was a little confusing, but hopefully that made sense. And so yeah, it's just been a lot to process and get back into a routine of things, but it is looking a lot better. If you are struggling, if things aren't going right and you're just feeling like it's not working out, like I promise you it will get better. It just takes some time. It takes a lot of growth within yourself and reflection and talking to yourself and working through that, which isn't always fun, but it is definitely very helpful. I definitely can tell you that from past experience, and even how I'm feeling right now, just like talking to somebody and talking with myself, journaling, even though it was a little awkward, just being able to do that made me feel so much better. And so I would highly recommend that. And just know there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, even if it doesn't feel like it. And so I promise things will get better. It will just take time. And I know that sucks to hear, but I promise we will get through this together. And I will hopefully catch you up with the process that I'm going through now next week on the Adventures with Therapy podcast. So thank you so much for listening. I know this episode was kind of all over the place and it was a little different, but I just needed to get these feelings and emotions off my chest, just because I feel like this is such an intimate place for me, is just to talk about my feelings and what I'm going through, and I want to be as transparent as possible. And so yeah, not the funnest episode to film, but I definitely feel a lot better saying all of the things I've said, and hopefully you are able to relate, or if you're also going through a hard time, be able to take some of these things and try them out for yourself, and hopefully they help in your situation. But that is all for now. So thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next time on the Adventures with Therapy podcast.